You are lying in bed after a long day. The lights are off. Your phone is charging on the other side of the room. Tomorrow's problems begin to drift through your thoughts, and suddenly a familiar voice appears inside your head. Did you send that message? What if something goes wrong tomorrow? You should have said something different. It sounds like you. It feels like you. But the real answer is far stranger. Because the voice inside your mind, the one that plans, worries, criticizes, and narrates your life, might not actually be the thing making your decisions at all. So who is talking inside your mind? And why does it feel like there's someone living behind your eyes? The answer takes you deep into the strange machinery of the human brain. Right now, without moving your lips, try to say your name inside your head. You heard it, but no sound existed. Your ears detected nothing. The room stayed silent. Yet somehow, words appeared out of nowhere. Psychologists call this inner speech. In simple terms, inner speech is the ability to talk to yourself silently. For some people, it never stops. It comments on every mistake. It rehearses conversations before they happen. It replays embarrassing moments from years ago and imagines futures that may never exist. But here's something surprising. Not everyone experiences an inner voice in the same way. For decades, psychologist Russell Hurlburt studied people's inner experiences at the University of Nevada. His research found that while some people constantly hear an internal monologue, others think mostly in images, emotions, or vague concepts. Some people hear entire conversations in their heads. Others barely hear words at all. So if the voice inside your mind isn't universal, can it really be the thing that defines who you are? To answer that question, scientists started looking directly at the brain. Researchers discovered that inner speech activates many of the same regions involved in normal conversation. One of them is called Broca's area. Located in the left side of your brain, Broca's area helps produce language. Another region, called Wernicke's area, helps you understand meaning. When you silently talk to yourself, these regions become active even though your mouth never moves. Your brain is essentially simulating a conversation. It is creating a voice out of pure electrical activity. But that raises an unsettling question. If your brain can generate a voice without any sound, what else could it be creating without your awareness? In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted one of the most famous experiments in psychology. Participants sat in a laboratory watching a clock. They were told to move a finger whenever they wanted while researchers measured their brain activity. The assumption seemed obvious. First, a person decides to move. Then, the brain sends the signal. But the results suggested something very different. Researchers found that the brain showed signs of preparing for movement hundreds of milliseconds before participants became consciously aware of their decision. Your brain had already started acting before the voice inside your head said, "I'm going to move my finger." Think about that for a moment. What if consciousness isn't making decisions? What if it's simply receiving them? This strange idea appears in everyday life more often than you realize. You suddenly crave coffee. Only afterward does your mind explain why. You instantly dislike someone you've just met. Then your inner voice creates a logical reason. You laugh before you fully understand the joke. You become angry before you can explain your anger. Again and again, emotions and impulses arrive first. The explanations come later. Psychologist Timothy Wilson called this the adaptive unconscious, the vast network of mental processes operating outside your awareness. In plain English, huge parts of your brain are constantly working behind the scenes, making calculations that never reach consciousness. Your inner voice may simply be reading the final report. The narrator may not be the author. Scientists discovered even more evidence in a series of bizarre operations known as split-brain surgery. Beginning in the 1960s, neuroscientists Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga studied patients whose brains had been surgically divided to treat severe epilepsy. The connection between the two halves of the brain had been cut, and something strange happened. In some experiments, information shown to one side of the brain could influence behavior without the person's conscious awareness. Even more surprising, patients often invented explanations for actions they didn't fully understand. The brain seemed to create stories after the fact. Gazzaniga called this system the interpreter. Its job was simple. Take the countless events happening inside the brain and turn them into a single, coherent story. In other words, the voice in your head may be less like a commander giving orders and more like a narrator trying to explain what already happened. But here's the twist. If the inner voice isn't truly in control, why does it feel so personal? The answer may be that your brain is obsessed with creating continuity. Every second, billions of neurons fire inside your skull. Memories appear. Emotions rise and disappear. Sensations flood your nervous system. Without a story connecting everything together, your experience would feel chaotic. So your brain builds one. It creates a character. It creates a past. It creates a future. And most importantly, it creates the feeling that there is a single you sitting at the center of it all. The voice inside your mind is part of that story. But stories are not always reality. Think about the last time you argued with yourself. Part of you wanted to stay in bed. Another part wanted to get up. One side wanted to save money. The other wanted to buy something. One voice told you to take a risk. Another told you to play it safe. If there is truly only one you, then who exactly are you arguing with? Modern neuroscience suggests that the brain is not a single, unified machine. It is a collection of systems competing, cooperating, and exchanging information every moment of your life. Your emotions want one thing. Your memories want another. Your instincts pull in one direction while logic pulls in another. The voice inside your head may simply be where all those competing systems meet. Tonight, when you lie in bed and hear that familiar commentary begin again, pay attention to something strange. Notice how thoughts simply appear. You don't choose the next sentence before it arrives. You don't consciously create the next worry. It just shows up. And then another thought follows. And another. The voice keeps talking. But if you can hear that voice, if you can observe it as it moves from one thought to the next, then a deeper question remains. Who is listening? Because the most mysterious thing about the voice inside your mind may not be the fact that it exists. It may be the fact that somewhere, in the silence behind all those words, something is hearing it speak.